Hi team, welcome back to my channel. If you're new around here, hi, my name is Sarah and I own a business called My Keeper, which used to be a made to order business, but these days is mostly sewing patterns. Today I'm going to be taking you through how to make this quilted journal or book cover. It makes the perfect gift. It's perfect for scrap busting as well. It is beginner friendly and it took me less than an hour including filming this tutorial. So yeah, come along with me and let's get started. First up, you want to measure the book that you're wanting to make it for. I used an A5 journal and I'm going to put my measurements that I used up on the screen next, and you're just wanting to make a little paper template. I actually incorporated all of these different parts into the one template just so that I was saving on paper. But yeah, pause here if you'd like to make the same size as me. Like I said, this is an A5 journal. Then it's a good idea to just do a quick little check to make sure it's going to fit. You need to make sure you've got seam allowance. So if you're making yours based on your own book measurements, make sure you're adding 2 or so centimeters around the outside. A little bit extra is definitely better than not enough. I'm just showing you here where I've made those extra markings for the pockets I'm going to have inside my journal cover. Here's a quick overview of the pieces I've got cut out so far. I've got the wadding, the main piece, and then I have also got my lining. Then we've got our 2 pockets. Sorry about that wonky one. I did end up recutting that one. And I've got a little small pocket for pens and things like that as well. And then we have got the ties. Step number 1, we're going to put our main fabric wrong sides facing the wadding, and I'm just going to pin this in place to keep it secure. You can use this stuff called basting spray where you spray the 2 fabrics and then they just sort of temporarily glue together, but yeah, I've just gone for pins today. Then we're going to stitch over the top. I think I'm just going to go for a straight look, seeing as I've got the plaid as a guideline, but you can do diagonals. You can even do things like flowers or squiggles if you have a free motion foot attachment for your machine. This is how mine's looking after doing all of that, and I'm going to trim that excess wadding down now. Then I attached that small pocket to the other pocket, and you need to make sure that you've hemmed the top of the pocket before attaching it. I've done a couple of lines so I can fit some pens and stuff like that inside. And then with our other 2 bigger pockets, I'm going to roll the sides down 1 centimeter and then roll again and then stitch on top. Now, just a quick correction from what you are seeing. The right side pocket, you also need to hem that side as well. I missed that step and then went back and did it later. Next up, we are getting our lining piece and we're going to be attaching our pockets. So you need to have the right side of your lining facing the wrong sides of your pockets. I know it's hard to tell with the fabric that I've chosen, which is a rookie mistake for a tutorial, but hey, we're all learning. And I'm just securing those with some clips. So we're keeping the inside of the pockets open so that we're able to get our journal or our books in and out. This is what it should be looking like after finishing that step, so just the inside parts will be open. Now for our ties, I am just folding down the short end and then I am folding the sides in towards each other. This is a lot easier using an iron, but I thought I would do the tutorial quickly before I head to the iron because the lighting is significantly better in my living room. But basically, I would iron a fold down the middle and then get the sides to meet that middle fold. Then we're going to stitch that and we will have 2 beautifully finished ties. I added a cute little label inside, seeing as I'm making this one for my mum's birthday. Next up, you're going to mark your halfway point on your lining. Mine's marked by the clips just there, and we're going to attach our ties. Then we are going to tuck them out of the way because we're going to be stitching the entire thing together and we do not want the ties to get caught in the process. Then we're going to get our main piece and we're going to place it right sides facing on top of the lining. Make sure that all of the different parts are perfectly lined up, and once you're happy, start clipping. A very important step that you don't want to miss is leaving a gap about the width of your hand, maybe slightly more, so that we can turn it right sides out once we finish sewing. Then you're going to stitch all the way around the outside and cut off any corners or little excess pieces to make it easier to turn inside out. I actually made mine a little bit too small, and I'm not going to lie to you, this was kind of challenging. Then you're going to get something a little bit blunt like a paintbrush, knitting needle, maybe a pen end, and you're going to push out all of those corners. Once you've done that, I use my fingers to sort of roll the edges out, and then I give it a really good press with the iron, making sure that it's all sitting really nice and flat. And we are officially at the very last step. You are now going to top stitch all the way around the outside and making sure that we're closing off that little gap that we made earlier, and then you are done.